What's up, party people in the house? We're back. It's Dynasty War Games. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. I'm joined, and your game master, host and game master this evening, joined by my co-host and main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
Great, man. Glad to have another guest on, and should be a fun time.
Right on. Well, Mike's still out in the field teaching cadets how to be little Army soldiers. So we brought in his place, Colin Jones. Colin Jones is a newer Patreon member, but super active. Really seems to know a lot about fantasy and Dynasty in general. So how you doing tonight, Colin?
Oh, I'm doing good. Glad to be on.
Right on. So I posted that we wanted a guest from our Patreon chat this week, and Colin stepped up right away. So I jumped at the chance to have him on. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Colin. When did you start playing fantasy football?
Oh, I started playing fantasy football probably 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Okay.
Nothing really serious up until about 10, 12 years ago. You know, we had a family league we ran for a while, pretty competitive, redraft keeper. And then when COVID hit, my brother moved across the country, and he decided we took that year off from fantasy football because everybody was just so busy. And then that next year, he decided he wasn't going to restart our league. So I had been looking for a way to get into Dynasty for a few years, and just hadn't found a way in yet. And then so we started. So we converted our home league into a from a redraft into a Dynasty league, and people seem to be really enjoying it.
Cool. So is that last off season?
That was last off season, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're fresh off your first season of Dynasty.
Fresh off my first season, first championship.
Right on. Oh, really? And you won.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Huge bragging rights there.
We're not sure how I won, but I did.
Nice. So how did you find Dynasty Warzone?
I found it on Spotify.
Okay.
I was playing around looking for, just really anything, looking to just get any kind of more information I could. Information's king. And you guys popped up. I started listening. You guys seemed pretty good. As soon as you said you had a pretty open and active group chat, that kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I hopped right on.
Gotcha.
Well, it's all nice and good coming from one of us about how good the group chat is, but tell us your opinion on it. You've been in it for a little bit now, so.
Oh, I think it's good. I think I'm glad it kind of self-monitors. We don't have anybody just, we don't really have anybody who just trashes everybody.
Yeah, there are no trolls.
Yeah,
it's all conversation. We're all just trying to learn from each other.
Oh yeah. And it's really good. It's really healthy. I think it's very informative, and it's
right
exactly
on.
what I was looking for.
Right on, and inclusive. I think this is exactly what we try to do. We're a little different than other networks that way. That's how our show started, because Chad and Mike and I were Patreon members. And Memphis pulled me in just by doing a contractor show with me and helping me with my first Dynasty team. And then, we've been in the Patreon for, I guess, 2 years now. All three of us, I think, about 2 years. And we, just from being included, just from Memphis and Jerry and Dallas and the whole gang, just sort of including us and us having a couple of ideas on our own, the show was born. And Memphis just offered it to us because, well, that's the kind of guy he is. Just like I said, very inclusive. And that's why we like to have Patreon members on, kind of pick your brain. It also helps us from getting into sort of a group think or an industry kind of think, to get fresh opinions and point of view.
For sure. And, speaking of Patreon members, shout out to Mike Kinney and David Donaldson, who are in the chat this evening.
Oh, Lord, David Donaldson's in chat. Well, it's a perfect time for me to ask you, gentlemen, Colin, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, I'm not drinking anything tonight.
Glass of water?
Just got back off a flight. I'm kind of relaxing in.
Gotcha.
Not really doing a whole heck of a lot right now.
How about you, Chad?
Blue Moon had a hectic day, so yeah, settling down with the beer.
Beautiful. Well, I have citrus squeezed Truly, and then we're gonna move on to grapefruit. This is for David Donaldson. I know he loves that. So, for those of you who don't know, David Donaldson's another one of our Patreon members. He is a wine distributor and sort of a liquor snob. He only drinks gin. He gets all because I like vodka and I like hard seltzer. So, all right, Truly, time for you to sponsor Dynasty War Games once and for all.
Or at least somebody, some alcohol sponsor us and send us all a bottle.
Ooh, Mike Kinney says Huckleberry Lemonade Dry Fly Vodka. Sounds delicious.
Isn't bad. I've had it.
Oh, really?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds too complicated for me.
Nice. All right, so we are going to play a couple games tonight. Like I mentioned, I'm your game master. This is Dynasty War Games. So the first one is not going to be a scored game. It's just going to be sort of an exercise, and we're going to try and figure a couple things out. And you'll see what sort of the theme is here towards the end, or maybe not even that long. All right, so the first game is called Who Would You Rather?
I hope it doesn't take everybody
to
figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh, that's what this shit was about.
All right, so let me ask you this. Colin, who would you rather have in Dynasty? DK Metcalf or Hollywood Brown?
That's hard because I'm not particularly high on either of them.
Mm-hmm. These are not meant to be easy, by the way.
Give me Hollywood Brown. Okay. I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much longer Hopkins is going to stay as that number one option there. I'm not really big on anybody else they have there. I'm not the biggest Kyler Murray fan, but they seem to be committed to him, which is a lot more than I can say about Seattle.
Right.
And DK, I didn't like him coming out of college. I didn't like the fit in Seattle. And now that he's got Drew Lock or Geno Smith throwing to him, I don't think he even approaches wide receiver 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe that's possible. So you're saying he's like 25 or later?
At least for this year. Next year, depending on who they draft, and I could see him climbing back up into that wide receiver 2 range, but I don't see him more than a middling wide receiver 2, assuming they get a good quarterback, but I don't trust Seattle to draft a good quarterback.
Okay. All right. Chad, DK Moore or Hollywood Brown? Chad Mendoza.
Oh, DK Metcalf. DK.
DK,
I thought you were.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you were saying DJ Moore.
Did I say DJ Moore? DK
you said
Metcalf.
DK. You said DK Moore.
DK Metcalf. Hollywood Brown. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, no, I'm taking Metcalf.
Okay.
I do agree with Colin. I think that he's going to be a wide receiver 2 this season, but the talent's there. Seattle's going to bring in a new quarterback eventually. I think with any average quarterback, DK is the wide receiver that I want. I just think the talent level's on a different plane than what Hollywood's on. Maybe Hollywood gets into that offense in Arizona, and especially with the absentee of Hopkins there in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, maybe he sees a value spike there, and you're able to sell him off. So maybe that complicates it a little bit more. But if I'm just saying like in a vacuum, I'm probably taking DK.
Okay. So you're not worried that there could be like a possible value drop for DK for a year till possibly get a quarterback next year?
I mean, there possibly could be, for sure. I mean, that's definitely in the range of outcomes, but I just think the talent level is going to come through in the end. And if it was a guy that, I thought was maybe an average talent, and the quarterback situation was a little iffy, and I was worried about the value drop, I would probably be a little bit more apprehensive than waiting for the talent to come through with a decent quarterback.
Gotcha. Okay, so we got one vote for each, and it looks like Mike Kinney's going Hollywood. All right, so moving on to the next one, Chad, we'll ask you first. DK Metcalf, or I'm going to call this your first, whoever you like best out of the rookie wide receiver. So like Garrett Wilson or Drake London, or if you like someone else.
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, these were not made to be easy. We want to really get some discussion. We want to figure out what DK is really worth here.
I'd probably go. God, I don't know.
All right,
I'd say it's pretty even. I say it's pretty even between three guys for me, but I would go one of the rookie wide receivers probably.
And which one?
See, that's another hard question too. I don't.
Yeah. It might not be either of these guys. It could be like Sky Moore.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take DK. Make it easier. I think it's that close for me. It's like a coin toss. So.
Okay. Yeah. If you can't pick one person for it to be, then I guess it does need to be DK, right?
Yeah. That's my logic too.
All right. Cool. Colin, what do you think?
That's hard. But I think it's going to be one of the rookies. Which one it is, that's where I'm a little torn. Whether it's Tolbert or whether it's Olave.
Tolbert.
I really like Tolbert. I really like the fit in Dallas. I think he can step right into that Amari Cooper role and be better than Amari Cooper.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I mean,
so you think he pushes Gallup aside pretty early then?
I don't know if he pushes him aside really early, but I think by next year for sure.
Well, I don't know that Gallup's going to be ready.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think Gallup's ready to start the season. Yeah. And I think that helps Tolbert, but I think once Gallup becomes healthy, they're going to put Gallup back in.
Yeah, you've got to think. I mean, with them, keeping him there in Dallas and him being there for this many years already, that they're going to give him priority over Tolbert, especially where Tolbert was drafted. But yeah, I mean, if you like Tolbert that much, I mean,
yeah, I mean, for me, it comes down to three guys. I like Tolbert, I like Olave, and I like Mechie. I know Mechie's kind of a interesting guy to put in there, but I really like him. I really like the fit in Houston. Houston doesn't really have any receivers, and we've seen historically what Houston can do with receivers when they don't have really anybody. I don't think Cooks is long for Houston. I think Cooks is gone after this year, if not during
Nico
camp.
Collins.
Well, yeah, Nico Collins, but I mean, is Nico Collins a number one?
I don't know. I doubt it, but
probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Mechie a lot too. I think. So what are you willing? This is interesting because I think a lot of people have Tolbert and Mechie as late second round wide receivers in the rookie class. Where do you have those two? Not necessarily like, because I know you have to kind of follow consensus because you don't want to take these guys in the first round and just throw away value, right? So you do want to wait on them a little bit, but like, where do you have them ranked rather, not where you would actually take them in a rookie draft?
Talent-wise, I would go 3, 4, 5 with them.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm not a big fan of Drake London, not a big fan of any of the quarterbacks. I really like the fit of all three of those guys. I think New Orleans is a great fit for Olave. I'm not sure where he fits this year, but they potentially are losing. They potentially have a big hole at receiver next year.
Yeah,
that he would fill.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Michael Thomas? I could see him moving on.
Yeah, Michael Thomas, but I mean, and not just Michael Thomas, but what about? I'm spacing on his name right now. The guy that they sent over from the Browns.
Wide receiver?
Yeah, the wide receiver.
Other receivers are like Marquez Callaway.
And Marcus Callaway, I think he's just a rotational guy.
Right, and then they have Dante. Deontay. They have a Deontay something or other. I forget his name. Oh man, this is really good podcasting right here.
Yeah, fun stuff. All right,
and also Landry.
Yeah. Landry, that's the guy I was thinking of.
Okay.
If Landry has a good year, I could see him moving on too, and that would move a lot into that number one role.
Yeah, I don't think Landry. I mean, even if Landry might not even have an impact this year, he could be.
Oh, totally.
He could be cooked.
Yeah. But that's why I like those three guys. I like all their fits. I think all three of them have at least a serviceable quarterback that I can move forward with for a couple of years.
Beautiful. See, this is what we're talking about. This is the fresh perspective that we were looking for.
In the chat, Mike Kinney says that Michael Thomas restructured his contract and he's there for the next 2 years.
Okay, good to know.
Well, his contract is for 2 years, but he might be done.
Yeah, actually, that's true too. Who knows what he's got left in him physically.
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting case. Okay, who do you got next, Jesse?
Last one of this set. So, Colin, we'll go to you, DK or DJ Moore.
I guess give me DK here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking about earlier in the chat, DJ Moore seems no elite receiver has less than a 60% catch rate. And DJ Moore has about a 58% catch rate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's never been above wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
He's played with I believe 4 different quarterbacks in his 4 seasons.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely played with a different quarterback every single season. I think it's been 4. I think this is his 5th new quarterback if he gets Baker. If Baker beats out, Sam Darnold. It's hard for me even to say with a straight face.
Right? Do I think DJ Moore? I think DJ Moore gives you the safer every week play. But I think DK can give you league-winning weeks.
Right.
I think there's going to be weeks where he gets you 2-3 touchdowns and 100 yards or something.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the type of player, type of dynasty player that you are. Do you want that floor? What fits your team? Do you need the floor? Or do you need the boom or bust? Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going DK on that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think DK for all of these for me so far.
Okay, right on. Okay, so DK hasn't really fallen much for you, even though he's got a rough quarterback situation.
No, he's fallen. He's fallen a bit.
But he's still. Well, I mean, when I say
DK
much,
was in
still,
like top 3, top 4 wide receiver range for a while.
But he's still a wide receiver 1 for you, right? It seems like he is, because you probably have Hollywood as a borderline wide receiver 1.
I don't.
That's my guess.
I don't.
No. Really?
Yeah, no.
What do you have? Where do you have him?
I mean, I don't see how everybody's projecting that. I get it. Like, it's exciting having him in the offense with Kyler and him being reunited there. But what has he ever done to say he deserves like top 12 value as far as paying that up for him?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I don't think he's nowhere near a lock, I don't think it's probable. I think that it's now possible. With Lamar, I don't think a wide receiver 1 season was really possible. I don't think that was where his ceiling was more like high-end wide receiver 2 with a lot of boom bust. With this, I think he's got the possibility of being a top 12 wide receiver, but I don't think it's probable. It could happen.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's probable he gets into the top 12. I think he's top 20 probably this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's a little bit of a safer bet for me. If you were to say, okay, put money on him being a top, 20, 24 dynasty wide receiver, I'd be like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with that. But I don't see top 12, especially with Hopkins coming back. I mean, even if he does really well in those first 5 or 6 weeks, I'm probably going to sell him high, especially if the value is where your guys are saying it's at right now. Then it should be astronomical in season if he does really well those first 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh yeah,
so he's going to be a pretty heavily a sales candidate for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're selling him for more than a first. Yeah. 2 firsts maybe.
I think if he does get into wide receiver 1, it's going to be on the back of those first 4-6 weeks, whatever Hopkins ends up with. Yeah. And I think he just kind of rides wide receiver 2 the rest of the way through the season to maybe low end wide receiver 1 at the end of the year when you look at his total numbers.
All right, so we've got DK over DJ Moore, but Colin, you went DJ Moore over DK because of the consistency.
No, I went DK. I went DK on that.
You went DK. Okay. All right, cool. So following that trend, Colin, DJ Moore or Michael Pittman?
I like Michael Pittman. And like I voiced in the group chat today, I think Michael Pittman potentially could be an alpha receiver if he ever gets a legitimate quarterback. And I think Matt Ryan could potentially get him into a top 10 season this year. Just based off of what he did with Julio Jones and what he was able to do with some of those other bigger bodied receivers.
Okay. Right on. I'm sorry, Chad. What do you think, DJ Moore or Michael Pittman?
Yeah, I'm I guess it just depends on the. No, I'm gonna go Michael Pittman as well. I like Michael Pittman a lot. I do think that he is primed to have a breakout year this year. I really, really like the prospects of it, but I don't attribute that to the quarterback play as much as some others would, and Colin thinks as well. I don't see Matt Ryan coming in and having a really, really great quarterback season as far as his wide receivers are concerned and production wise, and far outpacing what Carson Wentz gave them last season, because Carson Wentz gave them really good quarterback play throughout the year. It's just, for an actual NFL quarterback, he didn't do it when he needed to do it, right? So, I mean, there's a difference there, but I think Matt Ryan's going to do very similar things. If you look at what Carson Wentz provided, he was one of the best deep ball passers in the league last year. I think top 10. So, and that serves Michael Pittman really well. I think Matt Ryan is going to be a little bit more accurate in those intermediate throws and maybe provide a little bit of QB smarts there in that offense. But I think it's going to be personal growth on Michael Pittman's part that's going to set him apart. I really like him as a wide receiver, and I think he could be an alpha as well. So,
okay, right on. Yeah, I think he's a little T. Higgins in him. I don't really love Matty Melt. I mean, he's been done for a few years now, and I mean Carson Wentz. As much as I dog him, he wasn't the worst quarterback in the league last year. So
I mean, as far as production, he was good.
Yeah,
right. That's the thing.
Right. As far as fantasy goes, he was fine. He just let everybody in the world down when it matters. That's what he does. That's more of an NFL thing than a fantasy thing. But yeah.
So get this. So Wentz was QB 14 last season.
Okay.
Like, do you see Matty Ice? Do you see Matty Ice?
No, I don't.
That?
He's mid to late teens in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that's stealing for Matt Ryan.
Although it is an upgrade for Matt Ryan as well. I mean, he's got better weapons and a better coaching staff with the Colts than he does, than he did with the Falcons at least.
Yeah, but we can't forget what Cordell Patterson was giving him in that offense. I mean, he was getting a lot of really free production for doing nothing in that offense last year.
Yeah. That's true, but I think he's got an upgrade in Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines. I think both of them are better than Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, but the difference is Taylor's not going to give him the production. Taylor's going to get his own production and going to help him in the offense. But Patterson was doing ridiculous things in the passing game for him last year.
It was like dump off kind of things. Short passes that he was breaking tackles and taking longer.
Yeah, almost a CMC kind of role there.
Yeah, that's why I'm really high on Hines this year. I think Hines could be Low end wide receiver, running back 2, high end wide running back 3. If they're paying him a lot of money. His specialty is pass catching. Matt
Yeah,
Ryan
I mean,
likes to check it down.
if you can get him cheap, yeah, I mean that's definitely in the range of outcomes. I think.
Interesting. That's interesting to say. Now, so he was good 2 years ago, and he fell off last year. And I can tell you from watching Carson Wentz in Philadelphia for a long time, he doesn't check down. He doesn't like to throw to running backs, and historically he doesn't. So, with a different quarterback, maybe Nyheim Hines resurfaces.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago they had what? They had what? Phillip Rivers 2 years ago.
Yeah, right. Well, he had
Ryan,
no
same
heart
kind of
and had to
quarterback.
check down. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So you guys both took Pittman. Moving to the next one, DJ Moore or a TMC.
Oh,
is it my
Chad
my
first?
go?
Yeah, Chad first.
That's pretty easy for me. It's TMC all day. I
Even
don't know
though
if
they put
it's
up similar production their entire careers.
Yes, yeah, because I think McLaurin's a better player.
Okay.
I think McLaurin's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Like, period.
Wow.
I'm not talking about dynasty players, right? Like, I'm not taking him in the first, second, or third round or something.
He didn't really seem to take a step forward last year, though. In fact,
I mean,
say he took a little step back.
Like, but look at who he's playing with.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, he's playing with one of the worst quarterback. I mean, offense setups in the NFL. Period. One of the worst quarterback setups for sure. And I mean, what he's been able to do with Heineke and company has been pretty outstanding for me. Okay. I don't know if it's because I'm a Giants fan and so I watch, and that should let you know there's no bias here. I'm a Giants fan, right?
Right.
I can't stand the Redskins. I mean, the football team, or the Commanders. Damn it.
It's right. We don't have to be politically correct.
Next week it'll be something different.
I want to call them the Daniel Snyders.
Yeah. That's
man, that's almost worse.
Yeah. It matches their play. So, anyways, I have no bias towards McLaurin, but I watch him a lot because I watch every NFC East game. Mm-hmm. He's a very, very, very talented player who wins by himself, and even when he doesn't get the ball, he's winning. It's pretty ridiculous. I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFC East, period, and I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFC. So I would take him. I think with if Carson Wentz is going to be able to go in there, even if he doesn't do it in crunch time, if he goes in there and he puts up QB 14, QB 15 numbers, you're going to see a resurgence from Terry McLaurin, like a lot of people were expecting this past season. And I think you see borderline wide receiver 1 numbers from him this year. I really, really like him in this offense.
Okay. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, I'm really torn. Personally, like if I'm starting an NFL team, I'm picking Terry. No questions at all. I think Terry's the better football player. But in fantasy football, there are some concerns I have with him. His depth of target has gone up every year. His average air yards have gone up every year. He was 4th in the NFL amongst receivers with 100 targets in air yards per catch. That concerns me that it keeps going up. He almost was as high as Justin Jefferson last year as far as air yards. Yeah.
Well, doesn't that mean he's improving as a player?
Well, I'm talking air yards, not yards per catch. Passes.
Sure. Yeah.
We were drunk out of our minds. My wife and I go back.
Sorry about that.
I kind of trust DJ Moore maybe a little bit more for fantasy because he's the only guy there. Mm-hmm. Who else do I trust? Christian McCaffrey? No.
Yeah. Well, if he's healthy.
Well, if he's healthy, yeah, but I don't trust him to be healthy.
Right.
Whereas the Redskins went out and they drafted another receiver, Dotson. I kind of like Dotson.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wentz. If Wentz can put up QB 14 numbers, yeah, I think Terry's going to have a really good year. But I have some concerns about him. I think, his average depth of target was like half a yard short of Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And all Robbie Anderson does is run go routes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the narrative, I guess. But Under Matt Rule, it definitely did change. Robbie
Yeah.
Anderson 2 years ago in his first year with the Panthers actually ran a lot of different routes, and Shorter was a focal point for a while. In fact, I just didn't get it. Like for the first half of the season, it seemed like they were focusing on Robbie Anderson instead of DJ Moore, which was weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like air yards and I like depth of target. I think those are very telling stats that he can get open and get open deep. So I mean, I think that speaks well.
And that's the thing with him. Like, you don't even need to look at the stats. I mean, he's one of those guys you just watch him and he passes the eye test. Like, he does everything. Like, there's not a thing on the field he can't do.
I mean,
so I think he just needs better players around him, and I think that Dotson being opposite of him is going to help him because they didn't have anybody to worry about other than McLaurin in that offense last year. I mean, it was
Logan Thomas hurt and no second receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. Yeah. It was bad. It was just, double cover McLaurin on every play, move the safety over to McLaurin, make sure that cornerback's, I'm thinking soccer, that cornerback's locked on McLaurin and, call it a day and let them beat you with somebody else. And they did that every single week, at least in the NFC East.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, if I'm starting a team, I want Terry over DJ Moore. But in fantasy, I want the guy who's the only guy.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would argue that DJ Moore has the better quarterback. I like Baker more than I like Wentz.
No, I don't.
I mean, I just think Baker has more upside. I really do. I think Baker has a better chance of being a solid QB2 than Wentz does.
I mean, Wentz has pretty much outplayed him in Dynasty almost every single year. That's the thing.
Browns.
It's one of those things. Like, I think you're a bit biased because you've seen the player and you don't like him. And
I don't think that Wentz would have played with a torn labrum last year. And Baker did.
But Jesse, that's what I'm talking about. It's bias. So, like, we're not talking about
I'm just saying
we think about the player. We're talking about the player in fantasy and what he provides for the players around him in fantasy, right? And thus far in their careers, Wentz has been far more effective in getting good play around with his surrounding cast than Baker Mayfield has. Far more effective.
Yes.
Okay. Can you put up David Donaldson's question, please? He says, "Hey Jesse, who do you trust more for TMC, Wentz or Heineke?" Wentz. I'm not gonna say something outrageous here. So I just kind of wanted to clear that up. That I don't hate Carson Wentz as a fantasy player. I just have questions about whether he's going to finish the season as their starter or not, because he does things to get himself benched. And he's not a good locker room guy. He's, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know that he's going to be their starter all year. I don't think Tyler Heineke is some amazing talent, but I do think that he's a coach's darling type of player, and that's why he got the job last year. Besides,
couldn't I say the same thing about Baker? If
Carolina,
if Carolina turns into a dumpster fire, even if they're playing well, I could see them benching.
I'll tell you what.
Absolutely, you're right. You're 100%.
Coaches may not like Carson Wentz, right? That's the narrative running around. But Carson Wentz has never had a wide receiver quit on him in the middle of the season and try to find a trade and tell players not to come play for him.
That's true.
Play with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alshon Jeffrey basically. He went to Mina Kimes or whoever it was on ESPN.
I mean, Alshon Jeffrey's cooked though. I mean, he's just a bad player.
He was cooked at the time, but he still went to ESPN. And if he wasn't cooked, that was him forcing his way.
My point is Baker makes players around him worse. Baker makes his wide receivers worse. And
okay,
I
can't argue that. I can't argue.
No, I can't argue that. My only argument.
I just have seen some flashes out of Baker that I think that he just has a lot of upside if he can screw his head on straight.
We've seen so many flashes with Wentz. I mean, he was almost MVP in a season.
I still think he should have.
That was a long time ago before a lot of things happened. But yeah, you're right. You're right. What's up, Gator Jay? Popping one for you, buddy. I'm sorry. Go on.
All right, so yeah, we're done with this game, though? That's it?
No. We got one more. DJ Moore and Mike Williams. Colin.
Give me Mike Williams. I'm a big Herbert fan. I grew up in the Northwest. I got the chance to really watch Herbert play in college, and I really liked him coming out. I really liked his fit in San Diego. I don't think anybody in that division plays defense. And we saw last year that he can support two high-end wide receivers. Assuming Mike Williams can stay healthy, and I think he's figured out what's going on, and I think they figured out how to use him right. I think he can take over for Keenan Allen this year, and Keenan Allen can move more into that wide receiver 2 role on the team. And I think Mike Williams could potentially end up as the wide receiver 1 this year.
Wow. Oof, you heard it here first. You know how much I love Mike Williams. All right,
but
Chad, what do you
the only way I think that happens is if he gets 12 to 14 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, he's got.
That's the only way. That's the only way he passes Chase or Jefferson. I don't think.
He's got to catch a bunch of those long ones.
Yeah, I don't think he passes them yardage wise, but I think he can get more touchdowns, and if he gets more touchdowns, I think he can be wide receiver 1.
All right. So, Chad.
Yeah, this is pretty easily for me, DJ Moore.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's 2 years younger. I think he's just as good of a player. I think Mike Williams is probably in the better setup, but I don't know. I mean, I think DJ Moore just has more value right now and is more likely to hold value. If Mike Williams gets off to a slow start, I think people are ready to be done with him. I don't think anybody's clinching on to their past sentiments.
Interesting point. So, all right. So from a value standpoint, I can see what you're saying, where DJ Moore, people just love DJ Moore, and his value is not likely to decrease this year, at least not by much. If he keeps putting up a wide receiver 2 year, 15 to 18 like he does, he's not going to go anywhere. Mike Williams, if he puts up a wide receiver 20 season, people are sick of him. I think you're right. People are a little sick of him not being a wide receiver 1.
If they put it this way, if they both put up wide receiver 15 seasons or 16 seasons, DJ Moore's value is going to be astronomically higher than Mike.
It will be higher, yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm building like in redraft, I like Mike Williams better. I like Mike Williams better to score points this year.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So. I mean, it's a great point from a dynasty standpoint. Yeah, DJ Moore is probably the better play. But I love Mike Williams, and I love having him on my team. I've actually got him as my, I've got him on the bench of a couple teams. I'm going to win championships.
I'm sad. I really liked Mike Williams, and I sold all of my shares of him this season because the value was just so crazy on him, and I knew it was going to come back down eventually, which it has. But it was one of those things where I had so many shares and now I have almost none. I think I have 1 left in P11. So yeah, kind of sad.
I still think I have 4 or 5 of them, so. Including my original share of him on my first dynasty team.
Nice.
Yeah, and Herbert. I got Herbert in that league too, 1 QB3. So all right, so I think I think you guys realized that I was trying to figure out some residual effects of the Baker trade, right? So. Trying to figure out, did DK's value move because Baker's definitely not going there, and we're all pretty sure that Jimmy G isn't going there either, right? Because
put it this way. This will tell you what I think of Baker. If Baker would have went to the Seahawks, I would have been more put off on DK than I am right now.
Wow.
Because them not taking Baker tells me that they're more likely to take a quarterback this coming offseason. If Baker went in there and put up, middling QB2 numbers, and how the media is with Baker, they're going to talk him up because he's a fascinating player and he gets all the media attention and everything like that. I wouldn't like the risk of him staying in that offense for another year past this year. That would have scared me a little bit, but I'm excited. I know Drew Lock is going to suck, right? Like, I know he's going to suck enough for them to bring in another guy and be like, okay, we have to. Like, we're forced.
So they're not tanking. They're not tanking for Tua. They're sinking for Stroud.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
Right on.
I mean, I view Baker like I viewed Teddy Bridgewater a few years ago. Good enough to start in the league. Not gonna wow anybody. Gonna be the team that has him is always gonna be looking to replace him.
No.
Yeah, right on. All right, so I had another set of these, but I think we're good there. I think we should move on to Who Am I? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is going to be an actual game. We're going to score this. Hopefully, Colin, and I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Thanks.
Chad wins way too many games on the show. All right, so the premise of Who Am I is I have a player. Neither of you knows who he is. I'm going to read off a fact about that player. If you know the answer, if you know who the player is, shout out your name and guess the player. Right? I have 5 facts for the first player. So if you guess it after the first fact, it's 5. Second fact, 4, and so on. If you get it wrong, it's -1 point.
Hold on, real quick. Let me just throw this up. Brian Ford is in the chat, and he says, "Baker in quotes can't trust him to suck enough Mayfield." That's exactly my thought. I love that.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty good. All right. So, who am I? Gentlemen, are you ready?
Ready?
Yes.
I thought that was rhetorical.
I have never had less than 1,000 receiving yards in a season.
Okay. That's a lot of players, right?
That includes college and high school.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
Okay.
I have played in 122 out of 129 possible games. I am 28 years old.
Chad. Oh,
Go for
God,
it,
never mind. I know this is wrong. Shit.
Oh.
Do I have to say it?
Yeah, you buzzed in.
Oh, maybe it's not. I'm just going to go for it. Stephon Diggs?
Incorrect. -1 point. Colin, do you have a guess before I move on?
No.
All right. I have 1 Super Bowl ring. All right. Last clue. I have only ever played for 1 team.
Chad.
All right, Chad. I'll give you a
okay.
second guess because you didn't guess it either of the last 2. Go for it.
Mike Evans?
Mike Evans is correct. So you're at 0.
I thought Mike Evans was at 900 yards a couple of years ago.
Nope, 1,001.
Oh, okay.
And he also has a 1,006 yard season. But isn't that amazing, though, that Mike Evans has never had less than 1,000 yards in high school, college, or the pros?
That is impressive.
Yeah, man. that is just the picture of consistency for me.
Oh, yeah. The 1,000 yards thing threw me. I was like, I thought he had 950 that one year.
Gator J got that. Let me just throw chat this way before you guys, by the way. He gets 4 points.
Yeah, let me throw this out there. Guys, don't put it in the chat because we can see it. So I didn't see it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see it. But we can see it. So
yeah, I don't even have the chat up. So maybe I should.
All right, so nothing. Chad got -1 point and gave himself a point back.
The only reason I got that was the Super Bowl ring, which makes it sad. I was like, all right, what wide receiver is around 28 that's won a Super Bowl?
All right. So next player. I have had 4 top 10 wide receiver seasons. That's in standard and PPR. I have had 3 top 5 wide receiver seasons in standard. I am 28 years old.
Colin.
Go ahead, Colin.
Stephon Diggs.
Incorrect. It's -1 for Colin. Chad, do you have a guess here?
Tyreek
If
Hill?
you don't have a guess, it opens it back up to Colin.
Tyreek? I don't know. I'm gonna guess
Tyreek. That is correct. 3 points for Chad.
I was between Tyreek and Devontae Adams. I knew it was one of the two.
Yeah. So I have played in 90 out of 96 possible games. I was traded and signed an extension this offseason.
Nice. Yeah, that would have made it easy.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, towards the end, you really need to get
Is Devontae Adams 28?
I don't know. He's not on my list. I didn't look at him. I think he's 29, actually.
Okay. Because I think that would have worked with Devontae as well, right? All
I
of
think
them.
he's 29. I don't know. I didn't look at
Okay.
his numbers, so I don't know how many. But 4 top 10 wide receivers seasons and 3 top 5. Right? He's 28 years old.
Devontae is 29.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's 3-0, Colin. Come on, man. All right, next player. I have had 3 top 10 PPR wide receiver seasons. I have had 4 seasons not in the top 40. 4 seasons not in the top 40. I am 28 years old. I have played in 100 out of 129 possible games.
God, I don't know. Yeah, this might be one for you, Colin. I have no idea who this is.
Okay. I signed a free agent contract this offseason with a Super Bowl contender.
With a Super Bowl contender.
Wait, did you say contender?
Chad. Allen Robinson.
Correct.
Yes.
Chad sweeps. Who am I in the night? God damn it. Yeah, all right. So this is just sort of a look at some 28-year-old wide receivers and what you get, right? So with Allen Robinson, you just get somebody that is wildly inconsistent from season to season. You don't know if he's going to be healthy, and you don't know if he's going to produce even if he is healthy. However, for the first time ever, he's got a real quarterback and a real offense, right? Except for maybe, I guess, his first season, you know? And then you've got Mike Evans, who's the model of consistency. I don't understand why people don't just love him. He's only 28 years old, you know, and you know this guy is guaranteeing you a wide receiver 10 to 13 season every year.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got Tyreek, who's just, you know, a little more boom than bust. Really, he's only missed 6 games in his career. Just started a little older than the other guys, right? So I think he's only got 6 seasons where the other guys have 8 seasons, but 4 of his 6 are as a top 10 wide receiver, and 3 of them are as a top 5. So I think you have a lot more elite value out of Tyreek, but definitely a little more bust because there's a couple of seasons where he wasn't in there. But, you know, like I said, with Mike Evans, you get just absolute consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, I thought it was a little interesting just to kind of look at what you can get with some veteran wide receivers and what you have to give up. So let's look at it a little more closely. So let's say you're a contender, you need a wide receiver. What would you give me for Mike Evans, Colin?
Oh, I'd give you a first for Mike Evans. And
so you're 2023 first as a contender, so a late 2023 first?
I mean, I would try and do a 2024, but if push came to shove, yeah, I would do a 2023.
I mean, I'm going to tell you to go pound sand up the Rio Grande if you try to give me a 24 first for my tell you that right now. Even the 2023 first, I'm going to try to squeeze a little more out of you.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, and I'd be willing to throw in, you know, a couple of flyer guys like Brian Edwards or,
you
know, guys that
roster clogger. You mean?
Well, a roster clogger, boom bust, start throw.
I'd rather have maybe if you had Russell Gage, that might interest, or you know what, throw in DJ Chark to deal.
Yeah, a guy like that, a guy who we all think is who people think is gonna be good.
Right on.
I'll tell you what though, you're
What do you
not
think,
getting a 23 first for Mike Evans right now.
Really?
Yeah, you're not.
That's crazy. That makes him a buy then.
Oh yeah, I think part of the Evans issue is that he was in the same draft class as Sammy Watkins and Odell. Both guys,
that was a hell of a draft class. I remember it when they came
both
out.
guys who feel like they're significantly older than they are, don't they?
Yeah. Well, because Sammy Watkins is done. He's cooked.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins is done, and is Odell done?
I think Odell's gonna be back and play a decent role for somebody. I think the talent's still there, but
yeah, Odell's an elite athlete. I mean, Sammy Watkins was an elite athlete as well, but he just lost it fast. And you can see it. Whereas Odell, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen him lose what he had yet.
Yeah, I mean, if I was selling Mike Evans, I think the sweet spot of getting good value for him, but also, maybe saying, okay, let me be realistic about what I'm able to get in this climate, is probably a 24 first and 23 second. I think that's about what you're looking for. For Mike
I
Evans,
might
right
do
now.
that. Yeah, I think that's a decent
I probably would want
compromise.
something more back than just Mike Evans.
Yeah. I would say most people that would be the case, but I think that's pretty much around the most you're gonna be able to push and say you have a possibility of getting that deal done.
What if I threw in like a Gerald Everett, like a backup tight end that you might be able to use as a flex? A couple times.
I don't like Gerald Everett.
Okay.
He
doesn't like you.
Probably doesn't. I've had Gerald Everett on my team a couple of different times, expecting good, and he has never lasted the season on my roster.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. He's definitely been high expectation, low production kind of guy. So, Dave Donaldson thinks Sammy Watkins does have week one in him. That's true. He is going to have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns week one.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he plays anymore.
Yeah.
What was the other one that was in that class? There was another one.
Kelvin Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, there was another top wide receiver prospect. Couldn't remember who it was. But I think he deserved that, me not remembering, because I don't think he wants to remember.
He's out of the league. Or is he still trying to be a tight end somewhere?
No, I think he's done.
I think he's out of the league.
All right, cool, good.
I mean, so I think that plays into I think people think Mike Evans is older.
All right,
Mike Evans came in
I think people are also scared of what the prospects of that quarterback situation are going to be like past this season. Because Tom Brady's gone, right? We know it. He's gone after this year. So even if he plays exceedingly well like he did last season, which is not a given, I think most people are just assuming he's going to have an all-star year this year, but that's
Brady?
That's not a lock.
I don't know. It's as much of a lock.
I mean, age catches everyone.
Last year.
It didn't last year, and it didn't the year
He's
before
the one
that.
player
and it
I'm
didn't
willing.
the year before that.
I'm
not saying don't give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just saying it's not 100% certainty. Right? I mean, age catches everybody. It could be this year.
I hear you. I said that with Adrian Peterson too, and age caught him.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, the Raiders did win a Super Bowl with like a 50-year-old quarterback one year though. So I could see Brady sticking around for a while.
Let me tell you,
I think if he didn't sign that media deal, I'd be on the same page with you. But with that contract he signed, he's done. He's done. Who was it? Fox he signed with?
Something like that. He got a boatload of money.
Yeah, I mean a crazy amount of money.
And I'm not too worried about Mike Evans after Brady retires because
you love Kyle Trask.
He had 5 years of. He had 5 years of
Jameis.
Jameis. Mm-hmm. And Jameis, we all know.
I mean,
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that would be something that I would, put in the favor of Mike Evans. Jameis was a hell of a fantasy quarterback.
I'm telling you,
he was
has
a terrible
strong,
NFL quarterback.
strong downfield arm and would let it rip. He did not care. You know,
I think
little bit of fits in him.
I would be more worried about a better quarterback that was safer in that offense than I would Jameis going back to that offense and throwing, 20 picks and 30 touchdowns. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think with Kyle Trask in that offense, I'd be worried if they go out and get a quarterback. You never know, man. They keep coming out with these articles saying how much Kyle Trask is improving and how good he looks, and I know it's a possibility though.
They'll find there'll be enough quarterbacks bouncing around.
There'll be enough quarterbacks available next year between Baker and Jimmy Garoppolo. I could see Carson Wentz becoming available again.
Goff.
Kirk Cousins potentially is available.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot.
That would be a really, really good move for Tampa, in my opinion, if they went out and got Kirk Cousins.
Goff, yeah.
Yeah, Cousins would be a good fit there. I think
Kirk would be a really good fit there.
And I could see them moving on. I could see Minnesota moving on from Kirk after this year too.
Yeah.
His cap hit is just not equaling. I mean, you've now changed coaches. You know, if this doesn't work out and he doesn't get better on the field, fantasy wise, he is who he is. But if he doesn't get better on the field, real NFL games, I could see him being out of Minnesota this year.
Here's my crazy hot take call, right? I would say to Tampa. Oh, shoot, I lost my thought.
Fascinating, Jesse.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks floating around. I agree with you. It's just going to depend on how they feel about Trask and how they feel about the rookie class.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Derek Carr gets traded to Tampa, and the Raiders trade for Jimmy G.
Oh, no. Don't tell me my Raiders are getting Jimmy Garoppolo. No.
The Raiders.
No.
Because that's Josh's boy. He drafted him.
Oh.
There's my hot take. All right. So, we are at a tight 58 minutes at the moment. I think it's a good time to wrap this up. What do you gentlemen think?
I completely agree.
Right on. Yeah, Colin, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciated getting a different perspective because Chad and I argue about the same shit every week.
Well, anytime you want me on, I'm more than happy to come back on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're
much
definitely
appreciated.
Gonna have you. Yeah, we're definitely going to have you back on. That's a guaranteed. Chad, I'm so disappointed that you won.
Another win. Keep them coming, man.
Keep them coming. So, you got anything to plug? Do you remember your Twitter handle this week?
I think I wrote it down in my at DWZ_Chad. Got it.
Okay. Nice. Okay. And I think Mike's is something like at DWZ Mike. I don't think there's an underscore. And I'm just at DWZ_War Games.
Stop plugging Mike. If he doesn't want to show up, then he doesn't deserve a plug.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, if you're not on the podcast, you don't talk about that person, because, I low-key took a little trip to Cancun, Mexico, and Chad Mike did a podcast, and it was like I was never born.
No, I had this eloquent, homage to Jesse planned out. And then my Bluetooth headphones died in the middle of our intro. And so I'm like panicking to like find my plug-in headphones to plug in, and I can't hear what Mike is saying or if he's like cutting me off. Yeah, it was a mess, but we survived it. I think Jesse heard it and he was like, "Were you scared? Like, what is going on?"
Yeah. He sounded nervous. I was like, "Chad, we've been doing this for a year and a half, man. What are you nervous about?" Like, I didn't understand what was going on.
Just having a mild freak out about some headphone issues, but yeah.
Right on. So a little peek behind the curtain. All right, so Colin, man, I really appreciate you joining us here and joining us in the Dynasty Warzone Patreon chat. Just so you know, because I know that you're a lot of that chat right now, you and a couple of the other new guys, it gets crazy. It'll get to the point where it's 200 messages a day, or you'll go to work and come home and it'll take you all night to catch up. It's just the dead zone right now, right? As soon as trading camps open, trust me, we are sick, degenerate individuals, and that chat gets full.
Yeah, no, there's a reason I did all my trades during the dead zone.
Right on.
I found I can get more value.
Okay, right on. Yeah,
Nice.
this is the time to trade for veterans. That's for sure. Once points start getting scored, people realize, oh yeah, I need players, right? So not just draft picks.
Yeah.
So, have you joined a Patreon league yet?
No, I have not.
All right. So between me and Neil, who is he's sort of the father of all of our Patreon leagues. He oversees everything. Between the two of us, we'll definitely get you in at least one of those leagues.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So thanks for joining us. And that is it for this week. We will be back next week. I have not a clue what we'll be doing, but we'll definitely be having fun. Chad, you want to take us out? Scramble.